Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. My name's Cece, and today we're going to do an update on my Beauty A to Z project pan. If you're not familiar with the project, the details will be down in the description box. Basically, you choose one item from your beauty collection for every letter of the alphabet. That letter should be in the name of the product or the brand name. You can get creative on some letters, but essentially you then choose your goals for those items. Do you want to have a usage goal or use them up? My goal this year is actually to go through my eyeshadow collection and for each brand, use every palette, no pan left behind. So let me just stop blabbing and go ahead and get into my updates because I have not updated since I started this project, so I have a lot to tell you. First off, for A, I chose the brand Araceli. I have the 3 Araceli palettes, and I had not used them. I may have used one of them once before this project. So first up, I used the Jalisco Eyes, and somehow I used all 6 of these shades in one eyeshadow look. Don't ask me how, but I did. Not my favorite color story ever, but you know, I got through it and I would use it again. It's not something I would like jump to use again though. For the La Katrina palette, this one took me 2 uses and you'll probably see why, but this was 2 different eyeshadow looks. Basically did a purple look and then a more colorful look with the teal gold and the whitish shade there. Again, not my favorite color story. I do like the purples though. Now, my third palette, which is the Azteca Eyes, I decided I am not going to use and I'm not going to keep it in my collection. This has not been used yet. Still have the box. If I keep the box, that means I have not used the eyeshadow. While I have a lot of neutrals in my collection and I love neutrals, this is not speaking to me. When I look at it, I know I have all of these shades in other palettes, and I really dislike glitter mattes like this black one. I don't know why they exist. So I have decided that this one is going to go on my Poshmark. So I am done with my A's. Next up for B, I chose my Blend Bunny Cosmetics, the Dollhouse palette, and this has so many different colors in it. I'm not done with it. I kind of gave up. I have used this 6 times so far, and I still have 4 shades left to use. So that is this Glass Eyes. Definitely not a shade I go for. This Cinched, I could definitely see myself using that in my outer corner, but I just didn't have the look to put it in yet. And then these 2, Stitched and Harlequin. Harlequin looks like it's a very deep, like blackish green, grayish green. And then Stitched, similar, just matte instead of shimmer, maybe a little darker than that one. So these are not colors I typically go for in my eyeshadow looks, which is why I have not touched them yet. I don't know that I will end up using them, but I have, 7 more months to do it. So I do hope I get through them. I hope. For C, I had Colored Rain. I only have one Colored Rain palette in my collection nowadays, and it is this beautiful Rebellious Nudes. This took me 4 uses to use each shade. I did enjoy it. I definitely did. Love the color story. I love my yellow oranges, as you know, so this is one I will definitely come back to at some time when I don't have so many eyeshadows I'm trying to hit usage on every pan in. For D, I chose Douce. I only have one Douce palette. It's this boring little guy here called Freematic. Very, very boring. I probably shouldn't have used it, but I did. It took me 2 uses to use all the eyeshadows and the highlighter over here. But not a lot of payoff on the shimmers. Really not. It did not give me any joy to use this. But someday maybe I will focus on it again, but not anytime soon. And when we hit E's, I sputtered out. I was going letter by letter before, and then with E, I kind of lost my joy or my inspiration. I don't know, but progress is not so good. So let me show you what I got. So E, you probably can guess, is my e.l.f. eyeshadows, and I only put palettes in here that I have not actually used each shade in before, because I do have some that have a lot of use. So these are just palettes that either I hadn't used or had not used a lot in the past. So the first one is Carnival Candy. That blue generally puts me off in this one. And guess what? I've used the first 3 in one use and avoided the blue. So I still need to use that one to get this one out of the project. For Cream and Sugar, I used the first 2, and I don't know why, I just never have gone back to the last 2 shades here. So yeah, that would be really easy to get out of the project. I just haven't touched it. Then I have the Orange Creamsicle. This one is still brand new and still sealed. Not a lot of depth here, for sure. Not a lot of depth of color, and we do have another matte that has sparkle in it. Not my thing. Next up is the Chipotle palette, and I have actually used this one 3 times, but I haven't used a lot of it. So those 3 uses were this shade, and then these 2 shades. So I got some work to do here. Still colors that aren't my thing. Yeah, maybe I should have considered that a little harder when I put this project together, but kind of the goal was to force myself to use more colors. So maybe I just need to push myself a little harder on using those unusual colors that aren't in my normal day-to-day. I don't know. And then the Hot Chocolate palette is last, and I keep looking at this and saying, I don't feel inspired. So this one, like the Araceli palette, is going to be decluttered rather than using it. So 2 palettes decluttered through this project. So that's actually good. It's good to get things out of here that I'm not going to end up using so I can focus more on things I will. For F, I chose Fenty. I only have one Fenty palette, which is right here. It is one of the Snap Shadows, and it is number 5, Peach. This took me 2 uses. And it is done. I will be keeping it, but I am not really all that impressed with Fenty shimmer shades. Just not. But I do like the mattes, so I will use those again at some point. G is Glaminatrix. I just have the Nearly Neutral palette. Haven't touched that one yet. H is Huda. And I have a lot of Huda palettes. So I've only hit No Pan Left Behind in 1 Huda palette so far. It is the Cool Mattes. I really enjoyed using this. It took me 2 uses to use all the shades. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 palettes I haven't touched. And then I did use the Mercury Retrograde once. But yeah, I really need to start focusing on my Huda palettes because I have quite a lot of them to get through for the project. My eye brand is Iconic, and I have only used one of my palettes from that brand so far, and I've only used it once. So I've used these 2 shades and this one there. I got a lot more work to do on this palette. And then I also have the Multi Icon, the Soft and Smoky, and the Beachside Babe that I also need to pull out and work on. Have not touched yet. For J, I chose Jane Iredale. I have 2 palettes from her. One is the Naturally Glam, the other is the Naturally Matte, which would be perfect Better Together palettes. I have not pulled either of those out yet. K is Kaleidos, and I have the Cold Brew and Sashimi City, which I have not touched yet either. For L, I chose Laura Geller, and I only put 2 of my Laura Geller palettes in here. The first one is the Delectables Earthy Essentials. I have used this one 3 times. I have 2 shades left. So the Sage here, and then the Night Sky. Greens. Surprise. But yeah, otherwise I'm done with this palette. Not such a fan of the formula at all. You know, their shimmers look great when you swatch them, but the mattes in the baked formula do not give me a lot of pigment. But just 2 more shades to use in there. And then I have the Champagne Cheers palette that I need to pull out as well. M is for Melt, and I have 3 palettes, all of which I've been working on, none of which I've finished yet. The brunette I have used twice so far, and I have these 3 shades left to use. Rust I have used 4 times so far, and I have 4 shades left to use. These 2, which is funny because those are some of my favorite shades. And then these 2, Redox and Ravage. The first 2 are Antique and Erode. I'll get there. Obviously colors I love. I just haven't found the right look to put them into yet. And for the 27 palette, I have 1 shade left to use. I've used this one 3 times, and the only shade I have left is the Vegas Past. So I'm very close on my Melt palettes here. Just have to find the right place to put in all of these browns that I've got here. N is for Natasha Denona, and I have a whole crap ton of Natasha Denona. So let's talk about what I've done. So I have not started on my Baby Biba or my Baby Retro, but I have used my Baby Gold, all 3 shades, and I've used my Baby Bronze, all 3 shades. So those 2 are done. For my minis, again, haven't touched my Mini Biba, but yeah, not sure where that is. The Mini Starlet, used all in one look. Absolutely loved this. Beautiful, beautiful little palette here. For my Mini Star, I've used the 3 center shades, and again, this like gray, blue, green color, not really calling to me, or this darker gold, so those are still waiting to be used. My Mini My Dream, oh, love it. I used all of these in one look as well. Haven't started on my Mini Sunset, but my Mini Zendo is done. So this one took me 2 uses. These 2 in one, and then the remaining 3 in another. I have not used any of my larger 5 pans, so I have Alloy, Cupid, and Peak that I need to use. And then my $69 palettes, I don't know what they're called. They're 15 pans. So I have used Glam once, and I Need a Nude twice. So I have Bronze, Retro, Retro Glam, Sunrise, Zendo, and Yucca that I still haven't pulled out in this project. A lot of work to do. O is for Odin's Eye and the Alva palette. Haven't touched it yet. P is for Patrick Ta, and I have the Major Dimension palette here. I've only used this once so far, actually this past week, and I used these 2 and then these 3 shades all in one look. So I'm excited to try this out a little more. I thought it was a nice look. I'm not sure I love the formula yet, but I'm excited about it. Q, you guys. Okay. Q is my leftover QMS eye cream from last year's Beauty A to Z project. And you know I had not accidentally, but willfully started a different eye cream that was huge last year. So I never got to this. I finally finished that, and I started this one maybe a month or 2 ago. And I started to react to it. So it would give me a burning sensation like immediately after I put it on. It didn't give me redness, which usually is the next step for me. So I decided to stop using it, but I'm going to call this done. I used up to there. So I did have some progress, and I do not use products that are going to make me have a reaction. So it is out of here, but I'm very, very happy that I finally got to at least try it out. And now that I know, I can't use it anymore. R is for Rude Cosmetics, S is for Sigma Beauty. Have not touched those palettes yet. T is for Too Faced, and I have only used one palette, but I hit all my uses. I used this 5 times. It is the Born This Way Sunset Stripped. I finished using it today with this eye look. Not the best eye look. I just threw this on because I needed to film. It's been too long. I did enjoy this. I really enjoyed using it. Nice mattes, really nice mattes, good shimmers. I liked it. Believe it or not. They have out the little half size, or they're almost like a third of the size of this palette now, that are $29, and I'm really intrigued by them. The cooler toned palette that's just like this, I'm considering getting that little one, but I don't want to pay full price for it, so we'll wait until it's on sale. Okay, so U is for Urban Decay, have not touched those. V is for Busy Art, haven't touched those. W is Well People, haven't touched that palette. X is a Smashbox lipstick, which I have right here. I want to use this 10 times, but I have not touched it yet. I'm going to put it on my desk now, so I hopefully start to remember to try using it. Y is YSC Collection, the only Y eyeshadows I own. Y'all, it took me 3 uses to use these 4 shades. 3 different eye looks for 4 shades, but we did it. Z is for Zoeva, and we haven't touched any of those 3 palettes either, but that is everything. I wanted to go through the whole alphabet because it has been so long since we talked about this project, but I'm happy to finally get to put away some of these palettes and hopefully move on to some of the others. I really want to dive more into my Huda palettes, along with some other brands that I have a lot of and just haven't had the time to really explore them. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below as well. If you're doing A to Z Beauty, how are you doing it this year? I'd love to come watch your videos. Just let me know if you have them. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Love to have you around for my panning journey, and I'd love to be a part of yours as well. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.